again, if we go back to relationship, dermal vector with if he gets abused, he goes through problems, family, that's vector with a low threshold of the pain. Their pain is their skin is very sensitive, more sensitive than nano. When they go through this abuse, and if they get abused, especially physically, it's easy to break through this threshold, and that's what starts, your body doesn't want to feel that pain, so it starts to produce natural opiates, endorphins, so they starts to feel good. Now there is a balance also, some person is dominant, some person is submissive, but when you lift this threshold little by little, if you go more and more, you go through this pain, then you become inside the masochism in the BDSM. They start to looking for really perverted things. They need a lot of pain to go through to satisfy themselves. So in dermal vector is normal, some balance, but when you break it all the time, you lift this threshold, so you cannot once you start more and more pain, that's gonna lead more and more perversion, this masochism in relationship and everything. They're gonna look for really something really bad. It can become, they need to put chains and lift her on the hooks up and put her, I don't know. It can lead to, so they need to keep this balance also. They don't break this threshold. If they get really abused in the childhood, that's first step toward this masochism. But anal vector on the other side, they can also be, if they've been abused and went through pain, but their pain threshold not that low, so it's not that easy to break it. But they also on the sadistic side, because they accumulate energy. Their role in the tribe to be, for example, teacher in the tribe. So they need accumulate a lot of information, and then starts to teach young kids to become warriors. So they have this deep down, they have this love toward kids. They frustrate it, then they can harm kids. Now, if they don't teach themselves, and then they cannot teach others, they cannot be fulfilled. That's their role, to be the kind of teacher, you can say. That's the first role of anal. So all people who didn't study and took enough time to become something good, expert in something, they're going to be very miserable. Now, on the other hand, we needed also anal vector, because not every person in the tribe could pull wisdom teeth without anesthesia or break bones to heal somebody, really cause a lot of pain to other person, to heal it. So it can be a great doctor. But if he goes through these frustrations and issues, now he's gonna cause this pain just to satisfy himself, because it's the same person. He causes pain, pulls the wisdom teeth, or breaks somebody's bones or something to heal the person. It's the same person who can do the same to harm than to satisfy himself. So the best doctors, it's also anal, but the biggest criminals in sexual violence, it's also anal. You understand? It's the other side of it. If it's not fulfilled, if it's really frustrated, issues with, for example, in the family, sometimes wife doesn't want to lose sexual interest towards him, and if he doesn't have he doesn't go and get satisfied, it can also lead to pedophilia as well, even if he wasn't abused in the childhood, but he can lead because he cannot express his sexual energy, but he'll have love toward kids, so he can lead to things like that. He has anal vector has two taboo. All people, all other vectors, male, is one taboo toward girls. They don't have sexual attraction toward little girls. Anal they have toward kids, girls, and boys. It's the only vector who has also taboo toward boys because he has love toward boys. Dermal it doesn't have, or urethral, they don't care about boys. Only anal can start kissing boys and really kind of play with boys. Even if he not pedophile, he has this need and love. Dermal he doesn't care about his own son sometimes. Urethral doesn't care either, even more. Urethral they're not somebody who's gonna start kissing the boys. But anal, that's vector that love boys because somebody has to take care of these boys in the tribe. You understand? And because his frustration and issues, then he starts to harm these boys. If there is no boys, then girls, because it could be, but also because he loves these boys and his big taboo on the boys, he starts to seduce teenagers or young dermal visual not teenagers, men, in their whatever 19, 20. So that's also leads to this homosexual relationship because that anal vector can be that kind of dominant, you can say that in relationship, and dermal visual becomes like submissive with his masochistic tendencies and with his fears, because when they have fears they starts to dress like girl, they start, they don't want to be eaten by their tribe, by other people. They feel deep down they cannot really protect themselves, and they feel that they need somebody to protect them. So this anal vector finds these men and kind of seducing them. You understand?